As The Clash so perfectly put it, should I stay or should I go? Should I set roots in the ground behind my white picket fence and wait patiently for sweet, sweet death? Or should I explore, travel, and see the world? Welcome to On Being a Wanderer. This is the first video in the series and covers the just getting started part. Travel After Life 101. Deciding who you are, what you want, and touching on possible obstacles, opportunities, and how in the end a world of cultures and experiences await. There are 4 topics in this series, all shown on your right. If you want to jump back and forth, the starting times are listed. So let's begin. When you start a YouTube channel, the advice is to pick a subject that you would normally bore people with at Thanksgiving. Well, this one's mine. This is my only real expertise, actually. Deciding to create a life that I want to live, and then daring to actually do it. I was raised, as many of you are, in a world of preconceived expectations. In my case, it was finish school, get a career, get married, buy a house, have kids, buy a bigger house, and then wait for the grandchildren that, well, frankly, will never visit. End of story. And that's what I started and what I failed miserably at. Why? Because that was somebody else's expectations. So, what are your expectations for your life? Are they different than what was expected of you? Are they enough of a desire that you are willing to push a little against the current? Only you can answer that, obviously. But if you said yes, then welcome to the world of the wandering pirates, and the land of your family shaking their heads at you with that tisk, tisk, tisk sound. Before we get into the details of how to deal with all of that, please know that whatever you envision for your life, the bottom line is that you own it. Your family traditions or your culture may prescribe a certain set of rules, but in the end, you're a human being with the ability to make choices. Those choices may be hard. They may require a partial or full break from the people that are currently in your life because they may not accept the fact that you're different. But that choice is yours and yours alone to make. If nothing else, this is the message I want to push home in this video. That body you're wearing and walking around the earth with, it's yours. You own it. If you're like me, and at a certain age, you have family at differing ends of the spectrum. On one hand, early adults starting their lives. On the other, aging or elderly parents. And here you are wanting to tread your own path. Well, first and foremost, I am not suggesting you run away from all your responsibilities and leave the lot of them to their own devices. Not at all. But I am suggesting that when you write out that long list of people that must be supported and cared for, that you put your own name on that list too, and periodically move it up to the top. As I create this video, I am about to embark on just such an adventure. I have traveled frequently for months at a time. I have moved my residence 1,000 miles away from my family home. But now, I'm moving myself to another continent. And even though airlines fly from Barcelona just as easily as Miami, it's somehow different. Recently, a family member had a real medical scare. I needed to get home and stay home for several weeks. And I was happy and glad to do that. Yes, I have relatives who will always be within driving distance of each other, but there are times when I simply can't expect them to shoulder the load. I need to be there. So whatever you decide about your travel and life plans, remember you always have to have contingency plans for a quick return as well. But you also have to plan on not being physically present. Before you're not there, have some very deep and frank discussions to set expectations so everyone knows what to expect. And there is no way for me to lay out all the possibilities. It could be an illness, it could be death, it could be a celebration like marriage or birthdays. Between you and yours, you have to set expectations, desires, and above all, be willing to stay flexible. But the operative word there is everybody. Just because it's you moving away doesn't mean it's you that has to give up everything. Okay, so you've decided to move away, or do some long-term travel. Where? Do you feel limited by distance? Hometown USA versus the world? Please know that all decisions are okay, regardless of distance. They're not really different. Like I said, these newfangled things they call airplanes, they can pretty much fly you anywhere. But time is another story. The absolute biggest issue I've had in travel and expatting is time. Barcelona is my main non-home home. It's usually 6 hours into the future from both my job and my family. And that made for some difficulties that had to be addressed, or else my life was really going to suck. In my case, and feel free to use this as your helpful starting point, was to shift my work hours. I worked from noon until 8 p.m. Spain time, and that was usually 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. New York time, where my client is. It takes a little give and take on both sides, but it works. Now in my case, we also have team members all over the world, so my client is used to time shifts. But on my part, I had to alter my lifestyle to have a morning shift before work and then a night shift well after most others. Now my partner Nikki, she has a completely different issue, which is probably more akin to what you are going to experience. She needs to manage her house back home as an Airbnb, and those guests will always be on Miami time. So for her, being available at ungodly hours in Spain and everywhere else is not something that can be negotiated. Mitigated maybe, but it's really far less flexible. So for you, just do the best you can. Your timelines can be shifted and accommodated, but don't set your expectations so high that you're going to fail before you start. There are so many other topics to help get you started, and believe me, other videos will get to them. But for now, let's just say you're there, wherever you want to be. What advice can I give to an aspiring wanderer? Well, be an ambassador, and also be a student. For the former, you have much in your life that you can share. Experiences, thoughts, even your physical body. Hell, go volunteer somewhere in your new home. Meet people, interact, and well, don't be afraid to let yourself out, but also know that others are doing the same thing. And if you expect them to absorb you, you got to be willing to absorb them. Hence the student part. Life outside of your hometown is an endless game of give and take. Teach and learn. Co-experience. But don't be an ugly American with all that my way or the highway attitude and BS. And don't be shy, that please don't see me as an American. I'm pretending to be Canadian, because you are neither. You are just you. Everything that has shaped you is something you can't part with. So use it, build on it, challenge it, and be willing to become. So every day, be both a teacher and a student. Okay, remember, it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to want things for yourself. It's okay to travel. Just communicate, plan, don't plan, but live. I've actually got a few things I want to read to you. We've got a whole bunch more videos coming up, like how-to basics, country borders, I never pronounce it right, the Shenzhen area, time frames, cultures. We've got larger topics like being social outside of your social circle, being safe, staying sane with your partner. That's a fun one. How do you put two people in a small place and not kill each other? What else we got? Oh, and healthcare. I'm going to love talking to you about healthcare. And there's so many other topics I haven't even thought of yet. But the bottom line is we're going to get to them all, continue enjoying watching this series. We're going to throw some out every now and then, hopefully more every now than then. Anyway, for now, from Key Largo, Florida, where I hope the boat isn't rocking too much to make this shot bad, be a wanderer, go wander, and keep learning how.